Welcome to Craft Time at the Houston Public Library. My name is Rebecca, and today we are doing Zen Doodling. This craft is intended for ages 9 and up. Anyone who has fine motor skills can do this craft. You will need papers and pens. If you want to get fancy, you can use different colored pens or different sized pens, but it's not necessary to produce a beautiful picture. So, what is Zen Doodling? Well, it is a type of meditative drawing where you focus more on the process of creation than the final design, and you end up with a beautiful picture anyway. So, why would you Zen Doodle? Well, there's several benefits to this craft. It's self-soothing because it is a repetitive, creative way of calming yourself. It teaches you to own your mistakes. Since you're drawing in pen, there's no erasing, and you have to learn to incorporate things that might look like mistakes into the final image. It also is a form of creative aimlessness that again focuses more about the creation process than the final result. If you want to read more about this, you can look at Psychology Today. The article is Doodling Your Way to a More Mindful Life by Dr. Kathy Melchiotti. Here are some key tips for creating a Zen Doodle, and then we will get to the fun stuff. Your image should be without orientation. That means that it should be able to be viewed from any way. So you could look at it sideways, up and down, at an angle, however it is, there's no real up or down to it. Kind of like an M.C. Escher painting. So the image should also be abstract and unplanned. So this is a make it as you go type of activity. You are not planning ahead on this. You are just doing what your hand draws. You're supposed to be deliberate, and again, you're incorporating anything that looks like it could be a mistake into your final drawing. And so an example of this is like this guy right here. He's a little bit bigger than this one next to him, but in the overall final picture, it really doesn't matter. It still works all the way together, and it looks really good. Getting started. This activity is great because there's almost no wrong way to do it. Almost no wrong way to get started. This is the pen I'm using. It's a Prismacolor 05 size, but you can do this with a ballpoint pen. I do this with a ballpoint pen a lot during meetings and classes because it helps me concentrate on what's being said. And I usually start with a circle, and then I just go from there. So we're just gonna add some petals, make this a little flower. We're gonna bolden those lines to make it a little bit more solid. And then from there, I want to make a little dot in here. And then we're just gonna start adding different elements. You want to play with shapes and lines and angles and curves. I have been doing this for a while, so I may be faster at it than you. There is no right or wrong timetable for how long it should take you to do a Zen Doodle. And since this is supposed to be kind of a mindful activity, I'm gonna stop talking now, and I'm just gonna draw a little bit, and I would encourage you to go ahead and draw along with me, and we will meet back up in a few minutes. You can see here that my picture is starting to get a little bit lopsided. I was a little overzealous with a couple of my petals. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take these triangles and I'm going to kind of reshape my overall picture to be more equal in size, and reformat it to be a bit more of a circle. And what you'll see is that that mistake that I made of making a couple of these guys a little bit bigger than maybe I intended really isn't very noticeable once you get going here. So see, suddenly I have a circle that looks much more standardized than it did just a few seconds ago. So let's keep going. Now you'll notice that all of these lines and everything that I'm drawing is all super simple. It's straight edges, it's curves, we've got a couple triangles in here, some circles, a couple little, I don't know, dewdrops, petals, but everything is super easy, so none of this takes a whole lot of skill. And remember, the point of this is just to draw. This is not anything that I specifically had planned out to start with. This is why we doodle. Doodle is different than drawing. Doodling kind of becomes its own thing based on whatever your hand draws. I will say one thing, if you're using a liquid ink pen like this one that I am, do be careful about how you move your paper around in your hand. If you brush your hand over it before the ink has had a chance to set, you will not be pleased with your results. So you'll notice here that I'm making these arches deliberately uneven. So I've got like a little hump and then a big hump, and that's okay. It's on purpose, sort of. It's on purpose in that that is the way the very first one that I drew went, so that's what I'm going with. I am by no means an artist, so if I can do this, anyone can. Now, I don't want you to be intimidated by a giant white page, so if you need to make a smaller piece of paper to start with, or an index card, or start from a corner, that is totally fine. This is what you make of it, so do what works for you. So thank you for joining us, and if you feel like it, please share your drawings with us on social media with I love HPL as a hashtag. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.